Hey everybody, good evening. Just give me a minute to get set up. Just want to check everything's working okay. All right. Okay, 1 minute. Good evening, everybody. Am I loud and clear? Just want to test one last time. You never know, something's going to go wrong at the last minute with stuff. Just got to set up one or two more little things. There we go. Okay, and there we go. All right. Sounds good. Great. Glad to hear it. Okay, so I'll just talk on a little bit in the meantime before we start. For the people that are already here, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So tonight I'm going to be continuing some more on the VJ software that I'm building inside of CablesGL. As usual, this is quite an unplanned affair. So I'm going to be building some new visuals tonight. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do it tonight. I might start plugging in a little bit of simple MIDI hardware, but I'll just have to see how that goes. Basically because when I'm going to do that, I actually want to have more stuff set up so I can map it and do it all in one go and actually pretty much dedicate an entire stream to that. So maybe I'll squeeze something in near the end, but we'll see. It's work in progress. I'm still not too sure where this is all going to go and how it's all going to turn out. Though I'm pretty sure the results are going to be cool. I've not even really looked at what I did from a couple of weeks ago with the last stream. So I see some nice stuff moving around on the screen when I press play in Ableton Live, but outside of that, I'm not too sure exactly what it is that I've done. So I think the first few minutes of the stream are going to be me deconstructing that a little bit. So let's get back over here. All right. Wow, what a cool, more cubes depth. Okay. All right, just taking a quick peek here. Yeah, profit gate, all right. Okay, so. There we go. Okay, all right. Yeah, okay, now I'm getting back up to date with what I was doing. Okay, I don't need that. Yeah, this was this kind of like look at system. Now I remember. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically I was, let's just disable some of that post FX. Good God, where do I have it? Ah, okay, here it is. All right, so let me just actually disable that. Right, okay, that was what we had. So now I remember. So basically, I made this mesh instance thing. Let's press play for a moment. Yeah, and what I did was I made like a kind of sphere which flies around. Yeah. Yeah, now I remember. Okay. So when we put global FX on, we get this. Okay, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's all a little bit mixed up here right now. Cool. So basically what I did last time was I made this, for the people that didn't watch the previous stream, I made this kind of like landscape of cubes, as you can see there with the mesh instancer. And basically what happens is like every couple of kicks, the camera will move to a random position, and there's a kind of sphere that's being followed by the camera. I think we can enable the sphere right now so we can kind of follow what's going on. Yeah, there we go. So we've got that sphere. I'm actually just going to turn the music down just a decibel or two because I feels a little bit loud tonight. I hope it's okay for you guys. All right, so yeah, we're following the sphere basically, and it's kind of like flying around, and we're giving it a random number on X, Y, Z, which is kind of within the constraints of this mesh instance, I think. So I was pretty happy with this because it was something that looked pretty cool, depending on like what kind of global effect. I mean, I wanted to have something that would look cool if you just put this global effects on it. Basically, that's my whole idea, is to make a couple of scenes, and we can reuse the same post FX chain on these scenes to get some different looks. And here we had this shape select. So here we had these kind of like pyramids. I think we got that working at the last minute last time. Yeah, okay, and this is, right, this was a slide. So this was kind of like the density, like how close is all this stuff together, basically. Yeah, now I remember. So this was also mappable. I think I put the stuff on the sidebar slider that I wanted to have mappable with like a MIDI controller or controlled via live. Okay, so let's do something else right now. Now this was this old patch that I worked on. We're gonna start needing to do sub patches now, because this stuff is all getting pretty massive, to say it that way. God, I wish I remembered everything that Panda had done now. That I followed with the stream with how to demo. Some of that setup would have been pretty nice, but we can do a really simple version of it right here. So that's okay. So if I'm looking at this right now, you know, everything below here, this render to texture, that's this scene, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I think I just wanna get this. I'm gonna turn all of this into one sub patch. Because, you know, when you're working on like a really big patch and a big piece of software, it's really easy to lose the overview. So this is why the sub patch function is really handy to break this down. So I'm going to get the final post effects, and I'm just going to move that up here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this now. I'm going to do Control S first to save. Okay, and now I'm going to click here, create sub patch. And I'm gonna call this one, gotta remember to zoom in more, so everybody can see what I'm doing. More cubes 2. Let's do this. Okay. All right. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put a root trigger. So this is gonna trigger one of the output ports. So right now, this is the next that's just always gonna go through. So I'm gonna put this here. So this is triggering, and you know, I'm just gonna start breaking stuff down now into something that's easier to understand. So I'm gonna get this. Let's move it up. Oh, my bad. Let's just actually connect that one. So a little trick here: when you're going like over a big distance, holding your left mouse button, press space and drag, and you can kind of go from one part of the patch to the other. So I'm going to click execute. All right. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm lazy. I don't want to create this new dynamic part. So I'm going to get this from a previous stream, and I'm going to do create sub patch. And I have no idea what this was actually, so I'm going to put it on sub patch 2. Now this might break something. Let's see. Yeah, we're not getting anything. Okay. So let's check out why. So if I press F for flow mode, and I press 1. Okay, so we're going in now. Like, what's going on? What am I missing? Do I have a render to texture? Probably not. So like when you go like this into a patch and you think, where is everything? It's a really cool feature. Just click somewhere and press C, and it will kind of send to you. Now, for some weird reason, the patch input has decided to fly into infinity and beyond. So let's grab that guy and drag it over. So basically what we need is, we need a render to texture, if I'm correct. Oh, we got one here. Okay, so we got this. Right, so as you can see, this is still synced from what we were doing last time. Ah, here we go. And I've got all these post effects and everything. So I'd already built it like going into one system. Now, yeah, this was some cool effects, I suppose. But you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this full screen rectangle. I'm just gonna check this for a minute. So this is doing render to texture, and it's going there. And basically what I need to do is this. Just give me a minute, because, right. So you see here, I'm using these var set texture. So those are horrible variable names right now, but I'm just going to reuse them. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to disconnect this. I'll explain all this again in a minute, everybody. I'm just also getting back into what it was that I've been doing. So this is basically my render target, okay? And this is my depth map. So I'm just going to explain it, because that was horrible what I just did there. We're going so fast, but as you can see, it's now working. Let me just make sure it works, and I'll break it down. So now I should just be able to swap between each scene. There we go. So this is really cool, because I can now just swap between one scene and another. And the best part is I can just apply this global FX and just still swap the scene. Cool. Haha. All right, that's awesome. All right, calls for some fruit juice. All right, so it's awfully quiet out there tonight. How many people do we have watching? 2. Yeah, that's a low number, but let's continue. I'll do this for the stream results for later. Okay, so basically, now that I've tidied this up a little bit, I can make this all make a little bit more sense. So this is like the final post effects, right? So this sidebar here, this is just my reminder. You know, it's like, oh, these are cool knobs that do things that I want that I can map later on to MIDI. Okay. So we can start to look for things in common, like this shape select. You know, I could probably go into, you know what, let's add another sidebar here. We're going to call this slider. So I'm going to get a slider, and we're going to call it scene select. Cool. I only want to be able to go in steps of 1, so like 0, 1, or 2, but right now I've only got 0, 1 because of the root trigger. And because I don't want too many long cables all over the place, I'm just going to make a var set number, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to click create new variable, scene select. All right, so now we're going to go over here to this root trigger, var get number, so that allows me to read the variable that I just created, and I'm going to go here to scene select. I'm going to plug that in there, and now I can pick with the slider here in the top right corner which scene. And later on we're going to be able to animate this, right, which is going to be really cool. So we can make this swap on time with like a kick or with the music. So it's all coming together. But there's some stuff that I'm like, did I do a bad job of that or not? But it's okay. We got to just break this stuff down as we go. Now this was pretty cool, because here I built this kind of like system to trigger random numbers and make it happen at a certain point in a loop and everything, you know, and basically I can just reuse this part now, which is really cool. So I'm actually going to do that in a minute with what I'm going to do. So a little bit like what Panda did in a live stream where I co-piloted with how we make demos in cables, or more how Panda makes demos in cables. He used this trick, you know, with the root trigger. Now, the thing is, we could try and build like an entire transition system in here where it blends from one to the other, but at least the VJ software that I've built in the past, I didn't like that. I like being able to like press a MIDI button and have that change in time with the music, because by the time you've thrown it through some post-processing, it's just part of the show, basically. And don't forget, like this patch here, we can go way further with this, because this is just like a cube and a pyramid. That's where we got to last time. You know, we could apply different materials to that. So this patch here is rich to be enhanced more and more to make cooler things. You know, we could make the pyramids flip, half of them flip upside down and half of them the other way. So there's just a lot of ways to generate stuff with this. But what I want to do tonight is the control system's kind of in place. You know, this is easy to map to a MIDI controller. So later on, what I want to do is this. I want to build a new scene. I want to have 3 of them. And that's kind of like my tester. I want to have like 3 pretty different scenes because, you know, they've got pretty different visual styles, basically. Like this one is a lot more colorful, just works with 2 shapes. And this one is very busy. I want to find these common controls, which I can, from this sidebar here, plug into every single patch. So I don't have to think about, am I on patch 0, 1, or 2? I just want it, if I tweak something, it just changes it in all of them, and whichever one is active. Because when you're VJing, the last thing you want to be doing is tweaking a knob and going, oh, it's not changing what I've assigned it to. It should just always do something, you know, because even if you don't remember everything you've mapped, at least, you know, it will do something and you can react accordingly. So it's going to be time to make something else now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to subpatch 2. So just so you know, I'll just give it a very quick breakdown. So you know, we've got a main loop here. We've got a sequence. These are some of my global triggers. This is an old one, which can probably be replaced. And this is fun around us. So what happens is, we're just interested in this one. This trigger here goes down here and we pick a scene, right? So this is going to be all of our scenes of our VJ software, and you can see with the flow mode there what's changing, right? So we go inside this subpatch. And what we're interested in is this. Infinity and beyond again. Let's just grab that guy. It's just something that sometimes happens. Okay, so that's the trigger coming from outside of the subpatch, right? So this is all we're bothered about, this render to texture, and we're using var set texture, and we're going to use the same one in all subpatches. So these textures, they're now assigned as variables, and we access them here. More cubes depth, more cubes, right? So that's that basically. So, you know, if we click here, we can see this, and if we click here, that's not been tweaked for this scene yet. So that's just it, basically. We're just getting a scene, render it to a texture, send it as a texture over here, and then just apply post-processing, because I don't want to think about everything anymore. I just want to work on subpatches because it's going to become really big. So let's go to scene select. Right now it only goes up to 1. Let's change that and put it up to 2. So max 2. So now we can go from 0, 1, and 2. Okay, and because we've got nothing going on, the last texture that was used is going to be drawn because we're not assigning anything. So let's do this. So I'm just interested in this part right now. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to pull this out. Sorry, I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to plug that in here, and we're now going to put this in 2. Okay, so we've got flow mode going. Whoops. That's why I left flow mode. So we got it going here, but we're not rendering anything to the texture, okay? So let's just make a subpatch already. And we're gonna go in here. All right, let's get to infinity and beyond. Okay, come over here, buddy. All right, so I'm just gonna be working on a scene that was inspired by something that I already did. So what I'm gonna do now is, let's grab a basic material. And actually, let's do a sequence, because it's amazing what you can do with a cube. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to make an image compose. Okay. And I'm going to go here now to make a waveform gradient. So really cool multi-effects, can generate different texture waveforms, sine, sawtooth, and triangle. So I'm going to grab that bad boy, put it here. Okay. I'm going to turn off use viewport size. I don't need that because I'm going to use this as a texture on a material. So for now, I'm just going to put it on 512 by 512 because we want everything to be fast and optimized. Okay. So let's get this and let's plug it in here. 1 minute. Into texture, and I'm just going to grab a cube. Okay, so we've got a cube here, believe it or not, and as you can see, right now I can change like what's shown there. So let's put this on, let's just put it on 2, so it's a bit clear what's going on. Turn up the power factor, all right. So I've got to do some things later on, like get the clear color and map that across all levels, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to work on the basic scene. So just so we can be sure we're working on a cube, let's go here and type in transform. And let's just rotate it. There we go. Now, you see these seams here? That's because we've got to go to image compose, and the wrap is on repeat, and we need to put it on clamp to edge. I thought that would get rid of it. Ah, well, okay, I'll figure that out in a little bit. No worries. All right, not a game changer. 45, 45. Okay, so we've got a cube here. Okay, cool. So this cool little trick that I was playing around with was if you get face culling this up. So I want you to pay attention to this like picture here. Disable the rendering of the front or the back facing triangles, you know, because all the meshes are made out of triangles. So I'm going to add this, and if I now click discard the front sides, we're only actually looking at the back sides of the cube, which I discovered could let me do like a really cool effect. So what I want to do is, I really love the film Interstellar, and I got really inspired by the scene with the Tesseract, where the traveler is going through all these layers where he sees time and dimensions. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to make that tonight. Who knows? But I was pretty inspired, so I thought, let's do something like that. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to make a repeat up. Maybe this would be possible with mesh instancing, but right now in my head this is going to work with repeat, and let's just put it on 4 for now. Okay, so we've actually got 4 cubes there, but they're all exactly the same size, which means that we're only seeing 1 because they're all occupying the same space basically. All right, so what we need to do is we need to, I want to make all of the cubes become smaller as they go in, right? So we've got the index number from the repeat. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to use that to scale the cube, basically. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to do multiply, and I'm going to make it a smaller number. I just want to see this work first. I'm going to plug that into scale. All right, it should become bigger. Let's make it a negative number. There we go. Cool. So look here, if we just if we discard okay, 1 minute. Right, yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry, that was confusing. So if we do a negative scale, then if I'm correct, the normals get flipped. So that's what was happening. So I want to discard the front, and if I multiply this by a negative number, they get inverted, you know, so just trust me on this one. I think that's the best explanation I can come up with. Hey Hardy, thanks for joining us. All right, so let's do 0.5. So this is basically the spacing, right? And, you know, let's put this on a nice number like 8. Now, this is already looking kind of cool. So let's get away from gradient and put it on 1. Now, so far so good. What happens if we lower the opacity? We can get some blending there. Now, I'm just going to play around just for a minute. Yeah, no, we don't need to do that. All right. So, we could colorize this. Yeah, so this is cool. We've got something here we can use to control the color with the colorized texture. Always nice. So I'm going to leave it on black and white for now, and I'm going to do this. So let me just use the transform view up, because actually, let's just grab a little bit what we did in the other patches, because there's no need to reinvent the wheel here. So look here, we've got this clear color, which is mapped to the profit gate. You know, so first of all, I'm just going to totally grab that. And do we have a transform view around here? No, that was in the other patch. So I'm going to jump back and forth into the patches now, and I'm just going to reuse things because that'll also tie things together. So let me pull this down. This is the repeat. Let's get that clear color. pop it in there. Now, I don't think we're seeing anything because we're completely inside the cube. So let's grab a transform view and let's move back a little bit. So what we're seeing there in the background, this is really cool now because we're just reusing the same stuff. I mean, I could grab some different. So the profit gate, that's one of the MIDI channels coming from live. That's this one, if I'm correct. Yeah, profit. And basically what that's going to do is, you know, it's going to trigger the clear color. So the cool part is now, even if we go to this scene, for example, this uses the same effects. So when we're jumping from one scene to another now, we've still got like some continuity, which is like really cool, basically. So you might be thinking, well, okay, nice, but you know, what can we do with this? Well, I don't know. That's what we're going to find out. So first of all, let's let's just tweak a couple of more effects first, right? So let's say that I want to rotate it based upon its index, right? I mean, yeah, this is going to be really super cool. All right, you know. Okay, so let's grab this repeat. It goes from 0 to 7, right? And I can't do much with 0, so I'm going to do some. I'm just going to add 1. Right, so now it's going from 1 to 8, because if I multiply by 0, nothing's going to happen, okay? I don't want that. So let me just pull this down. So I want to make these guys rotate based upon their index. Okay, yeah, this one. Let's try this one for now, rotate Z, okay? So I'm going to get this one, and I'm going to say multiply by, it's going to be 45 on 90. I don't know, we'll just find out. So press F for flow mode. As you can see, everything under the repeat op, just to make that clear, you know, it's happening, it's being rendered 8 times. So I'm going to grab this multiply, I'm going to plug it into rotate Z. Wow, not what I expected. Let's plug it into 90. Now look, what we're going to do now is we're going to start getting these pretty cool patterns. Not exactly what I want, but it's a start. Now what happens if I plug it into rotate X? Yeah. Yeah, okay, I like where this is going. That's pretty cool. Yeah, all right, juicy. Rotate Y, other way. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this guy just rotate for now. And should I do it with the transform view? Probably, yeah. So we're gonna do it with just transform view. So as you can see, the cool faces gives us this really cool effect. So I'm gonna get this rotate Y for now, and I'm just gonna plug in a timer. So I just wanna see how this works, basically. Let's put it on 20. 40. Okay, I'm gonna animate this in a bit, but I just wanna get some stuff in place and just play around with it, basically. Okay. 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 Yeah, okay. So I can disable it. I'm just playing around there for a minute just to see what I can do. But this is that thing that gives like a, as you can see, each index is rotated 90 degrees, right? So that's what gives this different look there. And if I put it on 0, they all look the same. And 180 gives, is that the same as 0? Yeah, it is basically. So 0, 45, and 90. So I know I did a lot of stuff to generate some random numbers. Press C there. This is some, I don't know what it is. That's something from the very first round. Let's just not look at that now. Okay, so this is where I know that I did a lot of stuff which is like trigger based. This nice little system here, basically. So I'm gonna grab this. Don't remember everything that it does. I don't think I need to. So let's go in there. Okay, so I want to just do a simple thing here. I'm going to paste it, and this should just still be getting everything. Yeah, okay. All right, so what I want to do is I want to make it go between 0, 45, or 90. So that's 0, 1, or 2. Okay, so I can do a hard change here. So let's put this first on a minimum of 0, maximum of 2, and then put it on an integer. And then every time a random number is going to come out, it'll be 0, 1, or 2. Okay. So what that means is we can then do this multiply by 45. Multiply. Yeah, I'm not very happy with that 45-degree look right now, to be honest. I have no clue what's going to happen if I plug it in there. Let's take a peek. Wow, that's actually kind of interesting, but not what I want to do right now. Okay. Experimentation, ladies and gentlemen. That's the key to the game. Just keep trying it. All right, so I'm actually going to put it on 1 or 2. Gives me 1 or 2 numbers. Okay, let's put this on 90. Oh. So what I want to do here is I want to try and build simple rules, right? So this one as well, I could also put it on 1 and 2, and I could say like, hey, you know, how is it if we get the smoothed number, right? Sorry. So smooth jumps out, jumps in values basically. Let's try again. Also an interesting effect, okay? Let's keep it on the hard change for now. So I think a lot of the trick here is to, I mean, you can come up with some really simple stuff here. So if I'm going to do sum, and I'm going to get this smooth number, and I'm going to multiply it by 90. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Smooth isn't going to work with the repeat op. But I can just use it as a global multiplier. So let's put this here. Yeah, you know what? This is not working the way I want, but that's okay. So let's try something else. So I'm going to go over here. I think the trick here is to do some really nice stuff with the texture. So actually we can do this. So this goes from 1 to 8, right? So this goes from 1 to 8. I'm going to put in, I just want to have an easy way to make it go from 0 to 1. Because smooth step functions work best that way. Do a multiply. So this number we're going to smooth step. Just curious if this is going to do what I want. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh damn, that's pretty cool. Oh, I like it. I like it. So that's something else we can do in a bit. And I can also move this. Yeah, this is like those cool Tesseract-like effects that I was going for. All right, cool. Leave that there for now. Sorry, little wave of inspiration hit me down. All right, so let's just pull this guy down. So let's keep scrolling up like that. So, you know, we can do a lot here with just like making this rotate, right? So let me grab this again. I'm gonna just copy this I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to copy paste. I want to get some movement in that cube, right? So, yeah, there we go. That's what I want to do. All right. So we're actually just going to do this now. We're going to multiply. So we're going to say 0 to 3. Actually, 1 to 4. So it's 4 values. Get it as an integer. Want complete rotations, smooth. Going to multiply it by 90. So that lets me go from 0 to 360. So actually I'm doing it wrong. Let's do -2 and 2, and 0 is also acceptable. I want to be able to go both ways. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to plug that into rotate Y. I'm going to make the smooth really fast. Let's give it a mo. There we go. Cool. All right. I want to get some movement in there. So I'm also going to do the same trick again just here, like this. Why? Because sometimes the random number is going to be 0 or the same number, which means it won't move, which is basically what I want. I can drop that trigger, just pass this one through. 2 straight lines. All right, and this one I'm going to plug into, actually let's plug that into rotate X. And this one into rotate Y. So this isn't every quarter trigger, right? But I could then also do this. I can grab that, I can disconnect this actually, and I can go here and I can say, give me the kick trigger. So this is going to happen on every kick, if I'm correct. Yeah, okay, cool. So, we can get some pretty cool stuff going on here. So that quarter trigger, that's always going to happen on a quarter. We can do a kick. We could even make this just into a snare. There's a lot of stuff we can do. I just want to keep this a bit simple for now. But I really like this module that we've got here. We can just pull it apart, as you can see, simplify it, and get a lot of really cool stuff. So let's grab the snare trigger. Plug that in here. It's on a flow mode, just going to save. I'm just going to put that to Ableton Live. Let's pump it up. And actually, because this just always makes more sense to me, let's do the kick, then the snare. Okay. Once in a while. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make one more now. And this is going to be, it's already pretty busy right now. Grab that. Okay, nice and subtle. So I want to get that bass line there. And this one we're actually going to just put on -1 to 1. So -1 it rotates, 0 it doesn't rotate, 1 it rotates. Please don't forget, if the number's the same, then it's not going to change either. So I like this kind of like, I don't know, unpredictable stuff. So I'm going to get this, I'm going to plug that into rotate Z. Okay, this could all use tweaks later, but we're working on it as we go. did I put it on a trigger scene? 1 minute. Now this is good to do because I'm testing it, and this is horrible. This is just like, this is crazy. You know, if I was at a party and I was seeing this, I wouldn't like it at all. So this is probably the bass trigger here, which is doing an awful lot. So let's put it on. Let's just grab this, which is basically just a way to count. So this is like doing a trigger counter, and every 4 it creates a trigger. So we're gonna see, so that bass was just too much. So I'm going to put this into value, and this one I'm going to do again, -1 to 1. So like every 4 counts, this sends out a trigger, which is just more, it's making a bit more sense now. Okay. All right, so we're here at this waveform gradient. We can do some pretty cool stuff with this. So here we've got the preview mode. I'm going to put it on sawtooth. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, I'm liking this. This is going pretty cool. So this is the nice part now with this system. It's becoming modular, and now we can just start making scenes, adding them, turning these effects on, and going, booyah. All right. So if I lower the power factor here, this is going to be something that's definitely going to get animated. Okay, I'll just save for a minute. Just going to have to reload. Hey Hardy, yeah, I'm not going to use Syn because that's not beat locked. Sorry, I didn't see the thing you said. So, you know, if I'm going to get Syn and I'm going to put that into the index, then everything's just going to do all these really smooth rotations, and that's not the style that I like with VJing. I like very hard, abrupt changes. It's like a snare drum. You know, when you hear a snare drum, it's like, bah! And it's loud, and then it goes down and it decays, right? And you know, if you have like a kick drum or a snare drum go off and things are going up and they're going down, people don't make the association with an attack of the sound. It's like a rotation or a scale change or something. That's at least my experience from doing it at parties. I don't like doing visuals that drift all over the place. I really like to beat lock and beat sync things together, basically. Just to answer that one. But keep them coming, by the way. Yeah, sure, that's what I said with, I just saw it right now. But yeah, please, any comments, any feedback, keep it coming, because sometimes it gets really quiet over there, and I'm like, there are people. All right. So I already like the way this is coming, and this is getting there. But you know, we can just swap from one scene to another, and that's interesting. That shouldn't be happening. What did I do? Why is it not clearing this? Let's take a peek. So it looks like the texture's not being cleaned out. Is that the depth texture chain? Let me just look. I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. All right, so what's happening there is we've got this image compose channel, right? And it's got this depth texture in there. But we turned off the rendering, right? And if we go here, you can see it's moving. So this get texture, more cubes depth, it's not getting refreshed, so it just keeps the last thing that it got, basically, which is really interesting because I thought that I connected this stuff. Let's take a look. So if we go into more cubes 2, this has more cubes depth. Okay, there's this one. as well. That's depth map. Okay. And this one also has a depth map. Okay. Ah, that's kind of weird. Just trying to wrap my head around why that is happening. Oh, well, you know what? I'll figure that out later. And a quick comment. Okay. All right, so back on track, because I don't want to spend the whole live stream letting you guys watch me work on stuff here, basically. Ah, that's weird. So I've done this finger with switch textures. I must have been wanting to do it. Yeah, I don't need to do this because I'm doing this inside of with the root trigger. Okay. Did that have to do with it? No, really? No, it didn't. Okay. All right, I'll come back to that later. All right, so here's my texture, and that's coming from all these different scenes. All right, check. Back on track. So let's just go back to scene 1 with this lovely music from Others. He's been kind enough to make and share this with us. You should definitely check him out. His new EP's coming out soon. I've been entitled to a sneak listen to it. Really, really great stuff. If you're into the kind of cyberpunk-like style of inspired music, you're gonna really love that when it comes out. And we're gonna do an announcement, or at least I will, when his EP comes out. Okay, back to this. So I saw here with the waveform gradient, I can do some really cool stuff. Okay, I don't know why. Give me one moment, everyone. I'm gonna just refresh my cache and reload. Little problem with the UI there, not too sure what it was. When in doubt, press Ctrl-Shift-I and Ctrl-Shift-R, and that will clear your cache, basically. Let me see if this is fixed there. I was having a problem dragging the number there. Still am. Okay, I'm not too sure what that is. Do you know we're still in an experimental stage with things? Okay, that's not working. Alright, just give me a minute. I'm just gonna grab this and I'm gonna grab a new browser window. Sorry for the inconvenience, everyone. Not too sure what it is right now. No need to stop the music though. Okay. I'll just give this a quick test here. Okay, back to normal. No, not too sure what that was. We'll be sure to look into that after the stream tomorrow. All right, let's get back to where we were. Subpatch 3. Let's go in there. Okay, so I'm going to just show you here with the preview. As you can see, if I go here to waveform gradient, I can change the power factor. As you can see, I can get a lot of different looks here. You know, I can put the frequency on like 4. I can change this to do that. You know, this really lends itself to making some really nice patterns. So we've got like sine, sawtooth. Let's crank this up a little bit. Triangle and square. That actually only works if you're going below 0, basically. So it allows you to kind of do this. So you know what I'm thinking now? This is a really cool, powerful effect, right? But it's like, how do I control all of this in a simple manner without losing my brain, right? Without losing my mind, because we have here this mode, we have this frequency, we can rotate, you know, there's so much stuff we can do there, right? So I think it's time for the preset up. And I think it's a great way to show people that might not know about it. Okay, cool, let's do this. So, Control S to save. Whenever you want to use the preset up, and we've got a really cool tutorial about this on YouTube. Sorry, just give me one moment. I'm going to grab a sweater. It's kind of chilly in here. All right, where was I? 1 minute. Okay, so basically I want to use the preset up to manage what I want to do now. So I want to just be able to have like one number and then be able to go between different presets without having to remember everything that I've done later. That's the idea. So let's look at this. First of all, when you want to use the preset up, you got to define what it is you want to do. So if we look here, we've got the blend mode index, right? So I'm gonna grab a number and plug that in here. And that is the blend mode, right? So I'm doing the wrong one. I mean mode index, number. There we go, mode index. So now I can supply a number and change what the mode is, right? So, you know, if I put it on 0, it's doing sine. If I put it on 1, then it's doing sawtooth, right? So the reason I'm going to do this with numbers is because I just want to keep an overview for everybody here. I could just plug the preset up straight into these things, but I might want to add modifiers or something like that later. So you'll see why in a minute. So we've got the frequency, power factor, and cables remembers the last op that I had, so I don't have to keep on typing in number basically. Offset and rotate I can just do later on. Okay. So let's say I've got some cool presets now that I want to store. So I'll go here and type in preset. State management of all parameters connected to it. I'm going to add that. Now I'm going to start using this a lot with this VJ software because you find cool combinations of things in mini patches and sub patches, and you just want to keep them basically. So that's what I'm going to do with this right now. So first of all, I'm going to make some presets, right? So we zoom in. Let's just make this a little bit bigger for everybody so you can see it. So we've got here the dynamic port, which allows us to create a variable. Now if you look here, nothing's happening right now. So I drag this to mode index. And now I get this. I'm going to put it to 0. And basically what's happening is now this, you see the port is grayed out. This is now controlling this, right? So now I'm going to get this. I'm going to connect this to frequency. I'm going to get this. I'm going to connect that down. Okay. So we don't have a preset yet. So I'm gonna turn this power value up to say 20. All right. Mode index. Could put it on 16 for a crazier effect, but I'm just going to put it on 1 for now. I want to make some basic presets. So I'm going to click create new preset and I'm going to call it sine 1. All right. And now I want to be able to just change it a little bit. So I'm going to turn this down to say 10, and I can change all these later. I'm going to put this on 4. Create new preset, sine 2. Okay. So now I'm going to do something crazy like, wow, okay, that's all kinds of crazy, right? I want to get this like soft look down. Don't want to think too much about it. Sine 3. Let's say you've created these presets and you want to check them out. You just go here now. Oh, I've got to click create sine 3, enter. All right, so now I've got these 3 presets, right? So with the drop down, I can just pick them. All right, create duplicates there. Okay, let's get rid of this one. Okay, so sometimes if it's not updating, just click here in the canvas, then click your op again, it should be up to date. Okay, so now I can just swap between these presets. Cool. Let's make a few more. So I'm using this now as a great way to just remember the parameters that I want to control. So I'm going to put this on 1, which means we're on sawtooth, which is a real favorite of mine. and we're gonna get this. We're gonna put it on, say, 0.3. Really cool effect. Saw 1. I'm gonna put this on 4, and I'm gonna call it saw 2. I'm just gonna make 3 presets per thing here. I'm gonna turn this up. I'm gonna put this on 8. I'm gonna call this saw 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here, put this in 2. And as you can see, that means we're now controlling triangle, which is coming out from the center, right? So I'm going to put this on 1. Subtle differences compared to sine, but it's there. I'm going to put this on 4. Create, and then I'm going to put it on try 1. And then I'm going to put this on, say, 4. That's looking pretty cool. Try 2. Let's put this on 8. It's a bit higher, actually a bit lower. Let's just do this for now. Can tweak it all later. Try 3. Okay. Last one, we're going to go here to absolute mode, which requires a power factor lower than 0. Right. So I'm going to put this on 1. Really cool. It gives us these solid hard lines. Okay. I'm going to create a new preset. I'm going to call it square 1. Gonna make the line a bit bigger. I like it. Square 2. Now I'm gonna put this on 4, and I'm gonna make the lines a bit thinner. Actually, let's just put it on too much. Now, I could have really taken the time to just make everything exactly the same from preset to preset. Don't want to do that though. I just want it to be a little bit spontaneous. So cool. So I just did all this, right? And you might be thinking, well, why? Well, later on, there's going to be a MIDI controller connected to this, or I can just use random numbers. So let's do that. So I'm going to look at preset, and I'm going to hold out here. So I see there's 12 presets stored in here. So let's go over here. This was my little chain there. So I'm just going to grab this for now. Let's just explain it. So every quarter trigger is going to pick a random number. So I'm going to put the min on 0, and I might change the amount of presets that I put in here later. So I'm just going to get the number of presets out, and I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to put that on max. I might have to subtract 1 from it later. I need this T1 trigger. As you can see, a little cross there. If you click it, it's saying, okay, this op cannot do anything without at least connecting these ports. Update. Plug that in, and that should eventually disappear. Okay, so we've got these numbers between 0 and 12. I actually don't think I need a smooth right now. So we're triggering these random numbers. So I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to plug it into preset A. And this isn't going to do anything right now because it's not on X fade. So now it's on X fade. So every time we're going to get a random number here, it's going to trigger, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So I don't have to think about this anymore. This is probably going to look really horrible, but it's just to show you. So I'm going to plug this into smooth. Okay. I'm just going to multiply it by 1 for now because I don't want it to do anything else. So what we can do is we can plug it into AB mode, and what that lets me do is it lets me interpolate between preset 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So this is going to be like bonkers, but it's just to show you what we can do here. So I'm going to put it on, sorry, what was that? Preset A again, yeah, okay. So we get this, and I'm going to plug it into preset A, and so it's going to interpolate between them, right? And this can lead to some really interesting stuff. Actually, it works out pretty cool. Okay, so let's put that smooth number on something slower, so we see more transitions. What happens if we put on something really crazy, like 64? Put that post effects on. Way too much, but it's just to show you You know, this is actually kind of nice because we don't get this abrupt, jarring change. So as you can see now, just off this preset up, I've got a whole world of possibilities. And the cool part is I can just go in here now and I can update it. So let me just disconnect this, right? Just gonna save again. Can never save too often. So I want to tweak preset. So I'm gonna go here and I think, which preset am I on now? It's 2.46, so that's half of 2 and 3. So we're gonna go, you know what? Let's look at preset 2, preset 3. 2 feels too bright, right? So I click none. And I go to preset 2. This just feels too bright for me, okay? So I'm gonna just change the power factor and I'm gonna put this down to 8. And I'm gonna make this a lot harder, actually. So now I've tweaked this preset. I'm like, okay, that was bad. I wanna make it better. So now just click update sign free, right? And I go back here to AB and it now feels better with the transitions. And now I can just plug this back in, preset A. Cool. And this is just the beginning of the stuff we can do here because, you know, this is all connected to this preset, right? Let's go a step further because I like this kind of stuff. So I don't need to look at these guys anymore. It's like they're connected. I was thinking the other day it'd be really cool if we had a way that if you pressed F for flow mode, you'd see a kind of connection between these guys and the preset up. I'm sure we spoke about that in the office a while ago. All right, so this is kind of simulating me tweaking a MIDI controller or changing something else. So, you know, we could do more with this now, right? We could say, what happens if we do an effect on this, right? Something really simple. Edge detection, wow, okay. That's gonna struggle with some of the stuff that's not hard edges. Okay. Making it like this. It's a different kind of effect. Alright. Let's just look for something here. So, if I ever have a blank out with, what do we have again with texture effects? You just press escape, you go here and you scroll on the left side and then click texture effects. Sometimes I just have to look at the names to get something triggering in my brain. Now, I can't use blur and that kind of stuff because that's already on the back. That's on the post effects right now. Nope. Pull it out. Nah, also not what I'm looking for. Okay. Maybe I'm not going to find something. We'll see. Wouldn't be visible on the screen on the club. Oh, wrong one. This is a nice one because it just lets us turn everything into kind of into levels. Nope. It might just be good the way it is, but hey, it's experimentation time. Mirror actually might not be so bad. Yeah, that kind of works pretty good there, even if we've got it on the global FX part. Okay, that could be cool. Let's just leave that for now. Can always get rid of it later. Ah, so many effects. Could of course use gradients. Ah, boy, oh boy. Which is an entire rabbit hole, all of its own making, basically. Yeah, so we could go really crazy with this slider. You know what? I'm going to keep that around. Just take it out for now. Because I could spend all night tweaking gradient effects. So that's the thing, you know, with this whole post effects thing. It's sometimes just good to put in something really simple because that means you can go pretty crazy with that. I am just thinking right now, it might just be a good idea to do this. Let's go here just so you can see what's going on. So I'm putting it on pixelate. Let's put it on, say, 16 by 16. That's a pretty cool effect. Simple, but it gives us a different look out of everything. But we need to put it in front of the mirror. So we can use a mount here and add this as a really subtle thing, which gives us these like stepped gradients from one thing to another. You know, so if we put on something like, 4 to 64. This is just a really nice thing. It just gives us a lot of subtle looks here, which is kind of cool. This needs to be higher, I think. Yeah. And by the way, with live featuring, I think it's completely fine if the screen goes black occasionally. It means you're doing it live, right? I've had people come up to me in the past with this, like, hey man, sometimes there was nothing on the screen or it was all red or something. Yeah, when you have that many things that come together, it can go wrong, you know? And I like that. It's like, you know, if you see a live band, you don't mind if they go wrong, if they play something wrong, you know? That's just the way, the nature of the beast with live performances. Actually. So now I'm thinking we need to add some more movement here. And I want to do that with this. Because, you know, we can go in to layer after layer, right? And I'm just curious, if we go in and space material and lower. Oh no, hold it. Just trying something with blending, trying to get, so you can get in the background coming through. This is actually a really cool look, but it's not what I wanted, and it destroys the smoothness. Okay, so this is a little tryout ground over there. I don't want to lose that clear color part, you know? That's kind of cool. Now this again gives a very different look, and this is because we're discarding the transparent pixels basically. So if we get rid of that, it's solid. It's a different kind of look, right? Right, just give me a minute. So we've not even gone into changing the color yet. Ah, boy, we could do some, all right, so let's just do it. just for fun. Can disable this later. So we're going to use this map range actually from the repeat, and we could just use that now, I think, just to give each one of them a different RGB value. Let's just try it. No, I didn't say it was pretty. So let's get this map range. So basically we're getting the amount of, so we're getting 1 to 8 here. And we're mapping that from 0 to 1 with hue, which means we just get all of the available colors, which isn't what we want right now. So let's do this. So let's say I want it all to just be in red. I could go 0 to 0.2. Yeah, red, yellow. So put this on 0.4. This is not working exactly the way I'd like. But it's already kind of interesting. But why is this not working the way I'd like? I just have to make it way more high in numbers, basically. Okay, so this is something I can disable later. I'm just going to leave it there for now. Put it on white, like this. I'm just going to leave it there. This is an idea. Alright. So I really like this thing before the smooth step. Can't go lower than 0. You know, we can just crank this up, right? We can put it on 16. And then we can go to smooth step. So I'm just trying it now with the mouse for the sweet spot, right? So let's say 2 to, where does it start? Is it 2 to 0.2? Okay, let's just do that. So let's get this one every quarter. And the reason I'm just copy pasting so much of this is because I just want to be able to later on, if I want, just tweak this stuff randomly. So I want to create a random number between 0.2 and 2. I do not want it to be an integer. And I want to grab this smooth here. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to plug that in there. So now I'm going to be able to get map range, get this smooth, plug this into, sorry, we're looking at the smooth step. I'm going to plug this into max. That should create this kind of a movement. Let's make it faster. So it's pretty subtle. Let's put this on 4, see what we got. Okay, it's too much. 3, 2.5. I want this occasionally to go almost out, right? Now I think what I've done there is just messed it up a bit with the presets. I'll just show why. So I'm going to put this on none. So I want to look for these frequency values here. They're just too much. You know, 4 is already a lot. 8's just too much. So I'm going to just put that on 2. I'm going to say update. I just don't like it. It's just too busy like that. It's on 4. Once again on 8, it's just too much for me. It's just ruining it. So, you know, this is the beautiful part of the preset up now. This is really quick and easy for me to fix this kind of stuff. Let's put that on an odd number for the fun. Let's plug this back in now. It was just too many tiny lines, basically. Let's put this back on AB. Alright, so this is looking okay. I want a continual rotation here, actually, on, I think it's this one. Yeah, I want that to rotate for a longer period of time. So the smooth, actually, I'm going to put on 24. Yeah, okay, that feels better. So I'm still trying to figure out a little bit what I can do here with this blending. It's not working the way that I'd like. I've just got this feeling that something's missing right now, and the smooth step is actually going out way too much. So let's put it on 2. I do not want to go out. Okay, simple rule, -3 to 3. Let's try that. So again, I'm just going to get this nice little part here. It's going to get pretty full, but that's okay, I can tidy all this up later. Don't worry about this stuff when you're being creative. Smooth needs a trigger. I'm going to plug that in here. Okay, so I want it to go from -3 to 3. Let's get rid of this multiply. -3 to 3. I could put it on not integer, but I really always want it to move in like a stepped manner. So I'm going to put this on 8. I'm going to plug this into, press the spacebar and hold it down, transform view X. And I actually don't want to go out of the cube, so it's -2 to 2. Might not need this later on, but I think it's going to produce more, yeah, there we go, interesting effects with this. Because we're going to use the post-processing a lot with this. Okay, so it's always a good idea to test it with the busier parts. So later on I'm going to have to come up with something which kind of like creates a unified color control scheme through everything later on, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And the thing I really like about what we're doing right now is, you know, this is all like real time, because as I say, or we say, go real time or go home. So yeah, we got some nice stuff. Okay, this is going in a good way. This is actually a really small patch. I mean, most of what you see here is just this stuff being duplicated. And I'm actually not doing it a lot with the kick and the snare. It's just a lot of quarter triggers, which actually feels pretty good with this patch. And the preset changes, they're just like a bit too intense right now, but that's okay. So I'm just curious, what happens if we just create an if true then op. Let's make something different here. We're going to get loop. I've got to come up with like a unified timer that just goes through everything in the patch, but that's really not something I want to do right now. So I'm going to plug this into Z. Okay, and this is like animating the noise basically, and by putting it on loop we get smooth changes, otherwise we get these abrupt things. Now the thing is, if I'm using timer here, right, you know, this stuff isn't it's not animating in time basically. So, you know, we could do this where we could say we get the trigger counter, and we plug this into Z. And if I want it to happen more often, I could put it on like a 16th. And this is like in time with the music now. A bit too much, let's put it on an 8th. So these are all those little tricks that we can throw into the slider. A lot of different stuff we can do. I'm not too happy with it though. Rainbow all the way. Alright. But I'm not happy with that. Let's grab something else. Maybe, just maybe I'm overthinking this. Let's just grab grid texture. You know, and I think this kind of thing can work pretty cool when you do this. Lines are a bit too thin right now. And whoops, we need to put this back the way it was. I would have expected this to let the clear color through. There might be something I'm missing. Oh yeah, if you use billboard, that's also going to be fun. Okay, I'm holding Alt, right mouse button. I'm going to sort this out later. There's a lot of stuff we could do here. So the thing I like about this is that, you know, we can go for these hard lines or these soft lines. We could use the waveform gradient to do it as well, but it's not the same effect as a grid. I don't know why, but this grid thing kind of works with those moving lines. You know, and if we want it beat locked as well, we get this trigger counter. And to create like some kind of weird effect here, we could say, give me the bang up, put the duration 0.25. Yeah, and then we're getting this like kind of synced thing. And it's too much of this 8th trigger, but as you can see, it's just something I wanted to try out. Yeah, a lot of stuff we could do with this. All right, I'm just gonna leave that there for now. And put this back where it was. Wow, this one actually came out pretty good from that old stream. I don't know why, but it's got some really nice stuff in there. The movement just feels good and right. A bit too random right now for my taste, but I completely forgot how that was working basically. So, you know, that thing I said before about when you've got these sliders, you don't want to think or worry about, like, if I'm setting this now, is it doing something? So slider is a really bad name. But I can see here, this is like the density on this patch. So let's go back. I can rename all this later. That's cleanup. Let's not worry about it now. Yeah, it's called keep spacing. That's a horrible name. Let's rename it. Ha, because now we can rename stuff. That was it. Let's just call this FX1. Okay. Cool. I forgot we can rename stuff now. Brilliant. Kind of implemented that a while ago. So let's look at this. We're going to just call it FX1. So in this patch, it does this. It does something, right? So now let's go to this patch and see if we can make it do something there, right? So I'm just going to look, because I just want to not have to think too much about this later. Yeah, this one was done with a lot of kick and snare stuff, so that all like kind of beat locks in a really good way. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm having this thing again with the UI not dragging when I click and drag. Not sure why that's going on right now. Just give me a minute. Okay, go back here. If it's going to happen again, I'm just going to shut down the browser and do it again. Yeah, okay, my apologies for the inconvenience. Just give me a moment. Okay, let's go back into business. Okay, so I was interested in something. The slider, that was it. So we got this with stripes, right? Okay, number. That's a good one, see? Just number, right here. Because this slider goes between 0 and 2, which is bad. We should make that go between 0 and 1, and then make everything else get modified afterwards. So I'm going to go here to this slider. I'm going to say max 0 to 1. Now, here's a cool thing I forgot to say. You know, I keep jumping between all these sub patches and forgetting to show one of the most important things. So let's call this patch 1. Let's call it something reasonable. Patch 2. 0.3, C might be a bit annoying. So you click somewhere in the canvas, this pops up. So I know I want to go to patch 2, so you just click it, and it's going to take you inside of the patch. So I'm doing it a bit slow way here. So I want to be able to change the amount of stripes. So the var get number, right? And now I'm going to call it get fx1, which is this slider. And I'm going to plug that into the number. And now I know it went from 1 to 5. So I'm going to grab a multiply. I'm going to multiply 0 to 5 by 5. And as you can see, this is what I get here. So this slider just lets me now change something, though I'm not very happy with the result right now. So I might actually just multiply it by a higher amount, say 10. So now in this patch, this changes this. Could just put it on circular. Oh yeah. Okay. Great, so I'm just going to leave that like this. So this does something now in this patch, right? So I'm going to save, and as you can see, I just clicked on the canvas, and now I'm going to go to patch 3, which is over here. I'm going to say, okay, you know, I want this slider fx to change something, right? Don't know what yet. Maybe we can just add a little bit of hue into it. So we need to put the brightness on 0.5. And you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do get number. And I'm going to do a sum of 0.2. This is going to be far from perfect. Think about it. So first of all, we get fx1. That's this one there. Okay. That was it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plug this into new min. So now I can do this to change new minimum. And what I want to do is I want to have this range from like that number plus 0.2, right? And then I'm going to plug that into the new max. So I'm creating like this slidable range now. Right? I didn't say it'd look good, but it's just this idea. There we go. I can go in and if I make this 0.1, it'd be a very subtle gradient, but this allows for some really cool control. 0.3, and we get more of a color like this, which can be kind of cool. This shouldn't go beyond 1 though for the hue. So I'm actually going to put this, I'm going to put a clamp there, so it can't go higher than 1. So that means if I push it all the way over here, it all becomes one color, and as I pull it back, get this. Didn't say it'd look amazing, but it's just something I want to get in there right now. I just want to make that rule that if I change this, it doesn't matter what patch I'm in, something changes, and it doesn't always have to be super noticeable. That's just a rule that I'm just then following. So here it does something really noticeable. It like creates this density. If we go here, it's also a kind of density thing. Like how many lines do we have on the screen? And there is the color. So here I should also maybe make it with density. I don't know. But that's also a little bit of a cool trick. I'm not a fan of the color stuff though. So I'm going to leave that again for later. I'm going to put that on 1. I'm going to grab this fx1. So little cool rule, you know, if you've got your sliders or your values going between 0 and 1, it doesn't matter what all your other values are. If they're going from 0 to 32 or 0 to 5, you know, you limit their range or bring it to its maximum by just multiplying by 1. So here, for example, this multiply, right? That's this. That's not why I want to do it here. So frequency is like how many lines we have on the screen, right? So I've decided it with a preset, but I can still modify it. So I go here. Let's say I put this multiply, and now I'm going to put it on 0.1, and it doesn't 0.2, sorry. And now it doesn't matter what preset I pick, I'm kind of determining how many lines are on the screen, right? So this is actually more of a thing called density. So I'm going to get this FX1, it's going between 0 and 1, and then I get whatever that number is. You know, if I put this now in 0.5, I'm getting half of the lines from the preset op that were determined at the frequency. Yeah, so if we're going to do this now, have it as it was, and if I turn it almost all the way down, we should have almost no lines basically. Yeah, this was this. Okay, cool. So this allows me to change something here. Don't know why, I've got the feeling it isn't doing what I think in my head it should be doing. I lowered everything to not go higher than 4. That was it. Okay. So when there's a lot of stripes, then we see it. Yeah, more. Okay. It'll do for now. No problem. It's just all about getting everything in place. Okay. Another thing I want to do now is I want to have this cube step towards the camera. We've kind of got this here. So for that, I can use transform view position Z, right? So let's say we go from, I don't know, -5 to -5 to 1 for now? Okay, -5 to 1, right? So let's get a bit more space. So I just want to create a looped number, so that's difficult. So we have a trigger counter. I have a trigger counter, I'm going to reset it. I'm actually going to get the MIDI reset all. Plug that in here, so it follows suit. Resets whenever we restart the. Not sure what happened there. Save. Okay. Set this trigger counter, and now I'm going to get a modulo. And I'm going to say, let's make it go in 8 steps. Okay. And this is going way too fast for me right now. So I'm going to put it on a quarter trigger. Okay. Let's get this and put it here, a bit tidier. And then what I want to do is I just want to use another smooth, because smooth is your friend and stuff like this. So I'm going to get modulo smooth, plug that in there. I actually need to map range this. So I know it's going from 0 to 7, right? Yeah, okay. So say old min 0, old max 7, and I want it to go from -5 to 1. That was it, right? And I'm going to plug this in here to position Z. Actually, let's not do it with a quarter trigger, let's do it with the kick. So I put the increment factor on like 24. It's going to go back slow for a real long time, but it's going to come fast towards the camera, if I'm correct. You know, I can really want it to go back for quite a while. Yeah, too much. It's okay. Now let's take a peek with the. Yeah, so I've got to come up with a color control system later, which goes through all patches. Okay. Control S. All right. Okay. Let's go back to main. Okay, let me just go back to the music, slow the epicness down a little bit. So, something I want to build in later is this like Rgb system on all of the patches. In the past when I did live VJ shows, a lot of the time you're working with a light technician, and if you're in a venue, you know, they are not allowed to normally use a lot of lights because it's very rare when you get a beamer with say 10,000 ONSI lumens. That's a very rare thing. It only happens with really, really big productions. So there's 2 or 3 strategies, and if you're lucky you get a 3 or 4K ONSI lumen beamer, and then the lighting guy can't use almost any smoke, because, you know, using smoke reduces your ONSI lumens, but any light guy will tell you if there's no smoke, you don't have any lights, because, you know, you don't see lights, you see light illuminating objects like smoke. So it's really difficult to get this kind of like trade-off that you're able to do the thing you want and that they're able to do the thing they want. And trust me, light technicians are really good. Like most of the time, they know what they're doing. You know, they've sat behind that console and they've worked with countless bands and countless musicians. And, you know, they're normally the master of getting a lot more out of a lot less, because, you know, you can throw a huge amount of things onto like a digital screen through a beamer, but, you know, making like a couple of lights look good, that's not easy. But a lot of light technicians can do this, and it really took me a long time to understand what it is that they need. So I'm gonna build just a basic thing for it now. You always need to be able to do like a fade out, where you just like black everything out, right? That's just like this. You just might need it where, you know, the lighting guy just says, all right, fade out, you know, you just do it. And then he goes 1, 2, 3, come in, and he just did his thing with the lights on the breakdown of the DJ with the snare cracking and pumping and everything, you know. So that's going to be, this sidebar is just a place for us to build stuff we're going to assign to MIDI controllers later. So, and this is all just coming up in no particular order, right? So, I want the default value to be 1, so move this to 1, set default. So now whenever I load the patch, it's going to be on 1. So I'm just going to connect this to the amount of this master draw image, and that allows me to do this. And this can also be a cool effect, right, that you can turn on and off with like a toggle button. It's kind of like a really super advanced stroboscope if you hit the button really rapidly. Okay, so that's one thing. Color. I always get mixed up with this. Right. So this allows me to colorize everything now, right? Didn't say it's going to look pretty because, you know, I've got some color stuff already going on, but it's a real quick way where if the lighting guy says, hey, you know, I'd like the next 10 minutes you're doing like a light blue, and I'm going to do a color that complements that, and I'll just normally show you that on the lighting console. It's just really great if you can just do this, right, you know, where you can just do that on command. That's a pretty cool idea, basically. So I'm not going to assign a slider for it. I'm going to just call this global color, because I'm not sure when, but after this whole lockdown thing is over, I would absolutely love to go somewhere, find some electronic musician here in Berlin, in some nice small sweaty club with not the best beamer or the best lights, and then just stand there and have a couple of beers at night and just party with the VJ setup, because the only other way that you know if it works or feels good for you is to try it in the live environment. Nothing beats that, basically. All right, so that's global color. Right, and so if we look here, we've got this fade out, and that also has to go here to amount, and that allows me then to black everything out. So we're just doing that with the amount here and there basically. Okay, do we need to do it? Yeah, can I do it there? Ah, right, okay. So yeah, this is on multiply blend mode. Okay. Yeah, and don't forget, you know, we can get a MIDI controller and assign that here to the blend mode, and it's just a quick and easy way to get all these different looks on the screen, right? You know, we can now go here to color, and you know, we can change this into completely horrible but, you know, quick and easy things. All right, so let's put this on white. But as you can see, just here by using a different blend mode, you know, we can get a lot of different looks basically. Let's put it back on multiply. So this we could also make trigger randomly, but that's the kind of thing you don't want to do. We just want to have global control. Okay, I notice I'm kind of reaching the end of the stream right now. Yeah, so I think in the next stream, you're not going to see a lot of me. I'm gonna concentrate on showing using the launch pad. And if I can borrow it from Panda, the MIDI fighter controller with all the knobs on it, because like right now my MIDI controllers are in a different place than here. I've got lots of them. I've got like I used to have the Behring FCB 1010 foot controller, the foot one. That's really, really cool for this kind of stuff, because you can do stuff with your hands and hit stuff with your feet. But I've got like 2 or 3 MIDI controllers somewhere else with like lots of faders, and you know, I'd really like to build like what I used to have, but then in cables, but then like way more awesome and better. So in the next stream, I'm gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on getting MIDI controllers mapped here. I'm also gonna show how we can then create a couple of ghost tracks inside of Ableton Live, which will then allow us to say, hey, you know this thing with like triggering random numbers, right? We can like create sequences of randomness here, which are like musical but are tied to things. Now, you know, we're in a perfect world here because we've got music from a musician. So of course with this VJ software, there's going to be times where you're going somewhere and there is no Ableton Live set and they're playing stuff out of a Pioneer mixer, and it's also blasting into the red, because that's something that DJs do, you know, they squash all the dynamics, and that makes it really difficult to analyze the audio. So this VJ software, we're going to go into quite a lot of different directions with it that I think are really useful for people. And one of them will be the live audio analysis module that I'm going to build, and that will very quickly allow me to use stuff like the biquad filter with 2 to 3 bands. People always think 3 to 4 bands is necessary. Most of the time 2 will get you there, especially when stuff's coming out of a Pioneer mixer in the red. I'll also go more into explaining how we do things like we use DI boxes to lower the level of what's coming in, to make sure that things are stable. I need to get a sound card again, because you know, if you want to get the output from something like a Pioneer mixer. Sorry, Hardy. Oh, sorry, Hardy. I've just been so focused on patching all this, I've completely not seen what you're posting there. My bad. Okay, sorry everybody. Let me just back up for a minute. Yeah, negative values. Yeah, I know how to do that, Hardy. We can also just use the map range up. But yeah, thanks for the tip. Music triggers on stage, how do you deal with that? Okay, so that's exactly what I was covering. So Hardy, if you go to our YouTube channel, Audio and MIDI, I gave 1 to 2 extensive tutorials with videos on how to use the audio analysis ops inside the cables. You can do FFT. I prefer not to use FFT for a very simple reason. A lot of the time, when you use an FFT, you're getting already smoothed data values a lot of the time. And when you've got smooth data values, you're losing transient information. And when you're losing transient information, you're actually behind the actual audio signal when it reaches its maximum threshold. Classic example, you know, if you hit a guitar with your hands, it takes around 5 to 6 milliseconds, maybe 5 to 7 milliseconds, depending on the tensileness of them, before they reach maximum oscillation. You know, there's this little swoop up. When you hit a snare drum, it's between 1 to 2.5 milliseconds before it reaches the maximum attack, depending on the body and the resonance and the make and the diameter of it, right? So when you use an FFT analysis on this stuff, you're always late. That's why I prefer to use something like a biquad filter, and like what I did in those videos. We've got a really cool op here called the threshold op, and basically what it does is it just outputs a trigger when a threshold is crossed, but it won't output a new trigger until it drops below the threshold and it's gone back above it again. You know, so if you have a guitar and it goes, it's only gonna do it here, and this is gonna ignore. When it drops back again and does this, then it triggers again. So that's basically what I would do. So your classic DJ setup is, you know, you've got like some DJ on stage. A lot of the time they just lose track on the night, and you know, they're cranking everything up. But when you stand in a DJ booth, you really don't hear things the way they are for everybody else. I've worked as a sound technician for many, many years. So they listen to stuff like this little monitor speaker, so they always crank it up really loud. You know, it's rare the DJ that is able to keep control of the levels and trust the sound guy to pump it out. So then what we do is we build something like a 2 or 3 band biquad filter analysis module. You know, so I already built that in the video that I was talking about. So you can just go into that patch and you can just copy, paste it and use it. And then what I would do is I would get a MIDI controller, and then let's imagine this, right? So you've got okay, but all right, so Hardy's saying if the music is not coming in real time, you could just read data from an MP3. Yeah, but you know, we're building VJ software, which is designed to work in a live club environment, right? So that's why I'm talking about these problems we're gonna solve, basically. And you know what it is, Hardy? FFT, right? It gives you like yeah, no, please, no, it's all good. It's really good questions. These are very, very valid questions. You know, I'm just really keeping it focused on the live clip routine right now, like where you're stood next to a DJ completely rocking out with the crowd going wild, and you're trying to make something on the screen complement that. So it's just basically when you're out in a dance night, people don't follow this. And that's what FFT does, right? You know, it's you have you have like music coming out of a DJ track, and it's like so you got 0 to 1 with your volume, and it's almost never gonna go below 0.7. Right? It's just this full on playing, there's kick drums, there's snare drums, there's bass lines, there's like bass lines and everything. And music today is even more overmastered and compressed and limited than before. So if you're FFT, you don't have 0 to 1. You have like 0.5 or 0.7 to 1. This is your range. You know, so people don't perceive this. If you've got a cube moving like this, what they do perceive is that when this threshold is crossed and you have a trigger, and then the cube does this. So what we're doing is we're getting around this problem of having very little dynamic information and headroom, and just being able to say we're going to get an assignable threshold with a trigger which comes out of that. Because I did all this stuff with FFT, I've also built live visuals that work with an actual live band on the stage with the kick drum, snare drum, bass guitar, and I tweaked a lot of years with all these different kind of things, and I hit a lot of different problems. So this like lack of dynamic range, especially in modern electronic music, you know, that's really bad. Live electronics, on the other hand, when people do stuff with modulars and things like that, that's amazing because it's not running through a limiter and it's not being squashed. And this approach you're talking about of FFT, that can work really good in those environments, even if it's a little bit late. The problem is you can't delay the master output going to the public, right? You can't say to the sound guy like, hey, can you just delay the DJ for 3 to 5 milliseconds so my visuals are in sync with him? It's not the way the world works. You know, you've got to work around them because they're the DJ, you're the VJ, you're complementing them for the night. So, you know, that's just me speaking about some of my experiences, and I'm really happy that you're asking those questions, because a lot of the time people have a lot of questions and only one person asks them. And this is something I could talk about for hours. Like really, I've had so many different situations with this. And the thing is, the audio analysis threshold method, right? It's the simplest and therefore the most robust method, which is less error prone than any other. So let's say you're going to use FFT. You have some guy doing banging techno electro, and then somebody comes out and does dubstep. Your FFT is buggered on dubstep. It's not going to work. It's just way too loud, way too much wobbles, way too much bass. And bass is like energy, and bass is also slow as well. It takes time to move subsonic speakers compared to mid-high tweets, which are really, really fast and rapid. So, you know, that's why I use the trigger stuff basically, because it doesn't matter what style of music's gonna get thrown at me. I can tweak those thresholds and just get triggers which are gonna respond. And I'm gonna do it in a different video. What we can do is we can build a kind of system which, I mean, we've already got it in there. I've just not built it with the MIDI controllers yet. We can build a kind of system that determines how long your system takes with all of these spins and movement and everything based upon the trigger. And you just assign that to like 1 or 2 or 3 sliders. And then, you know, if the music's playing really, really fast, you can make your envelope very short and rapid, or you can make it really long, you know, and of getting these like 6 numbers with your filters and your thresholds and your duration, you can handle any live set that any DJ is going to throw at you. I've been a massive fan of Atari Teenage Riot for many years. I used to make digital hardcore actually back in the day when those guys came out. They were my inspiration to get a 2000 Guilder loan that I couldn't pay back and buy an Akaya's 20 sampler and have no idea what I'm doing. And that's how I became a very unsuccessful musician for over 23 years. Yeah, they've always got their knobs all the way to 11, but you could pull it off with that thing I was talking about with the triggers. And believe it or not, you know, a lot of their music isn't really over limited. They use a lot of distortion, which is the same kind of problem, but in a different way. So when you limit music, you know, you squash its dynamic range. So a curve all of a sudden becomes more straight, right? And when you use a distortion effect, it's like you cut a waveform. It's a chainsaw, right? Which is what gives distortion its sound, and digital is very straight. And analog has a more rounded curve to the straightness as it approaches the ceiling, basically. So, you know, it might be really interesting to do, you know, I want to do a VJ stream again where I just actually showcase different kinds of audio. Like, look, here's a live kick from a band. Let's see if we can tweak in like 6 seconds to get a response to that. Okay, here's some Rgb kick. Can we get that as well? So that's something you've got to practice and you've got to get a feeling for, basically. So you should set your changes on silent moments of Atari Teenage Riot. Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I sometimes walk past Alec Empire here when I'm on the way to the office. It's really cool because I'm a super fanboy. First time I was here, I actually walked past him and I had the Atari Teenage Riot shirt on, but I had it under a sweater. I totally didn't want to freak him out with like, hi, Alec. Here's a t-shirt, you know, even though I think that's, it's funny how very few people in Berlin are a fan to me of Atari Teenage Riot compared to all the people outside. But that's a different topic. I'm a real big fan of Atari Teenage Riot. Actually, maybe we should just do like at least a 10-15 minute part of a stream where we just throw a CD of them on and let's see if Andro can tweak live visuals to it. And who knows, maybe Alec Empire will contact me and say, hey, you want to do some live visuals? That would be kind of cool. So yeah, okay. You know what? I'm blabbling on right now, but it's fun because it's also engaging with people. It'd be really nice to be able to, I think Panda said that the other day, kind of like be able to have a way where we could maybe have a voice chat with people in Discord during the stream. I think these kind of moments with talks have become much more interesting because Cables isn't only about patching, of course, it's about talking about the theory and the approach and the design of things and how that all comes together to make something that you want. All right, it's 9:30. It's been almost a 2-hour stream. I'm really happy with what came out. We got more pieces in place. It's a much tidier patch right now. Always good. Team straight lines for the win. Just putting that one in there. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with where this went. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup probably in the meantime, like this trigger there. That's only for one patch. I don't want to do that during the stream. That's really kind of boring, you know. So in the next episode, like I said, I'm going to focus on MIDI controllers, systems and design approach to using MIDI controllers where you don't go crazy in a live situation, and that if you forget everything that you can just hit the buttons in a random order or tweak knobs and it'll still look cool. That's my motto basically at the end of the day, when you're in a venue and all the lights and smoke and everything and the loud music's going bonkers. So we're going to focus on that in the next one, and then we'll just keep the visual stuff on a bit of a low key. In the meantime, I'm going to think about a more dynamic modular system for the post-effects reading. I've got a couple of ideas for that. Yeah, so that's it for tonight, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody that joined in tonight. It's always cool, especially at the end, to be having a chat about some stuff. Hardy, once again, sorry I missed some of the comments there that you were putting down. I was so in the zone here with patching. I'm sure you know how that is. So I'm going to wish all you lovely people a lovely night. And I don't think I'll be doing the stream next week. It's probably going to be something from Panda or Steam and Steam. And I'll be back in probably just over 2 weeks, maybe 3. We'll see. We're just taking turns with this and we're figuring it all out as we go. All right. Hope you all have a good night and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.